So I'm going to make my basic meatball recipe, and then a little later in the show, turn it into a few of the fun different things that you can turn the meatballs into. You know, you can use them for appetizers, for cocktail parties, meatball subs, Swedish meatballs, spaghetti meatballs, you name it. This is a basic meatball recipe that my family loves, and I think yours will too. I know Ann loves them. How are you doing today, Ann? Good. Good. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take some sandwich bread and just, you can use your hands or just use a knife and just kind of dice it up. And this is going to keep those meatballs really nice and moist. There are no breadcrumbs in my meatball recipe. Instead, I'm using just, white sandwich bread because it's going to keep those meatballs really nice and moist. And then I've got some milk, about 1/4 cup of milk that I'm just going to pour over the bread. We love our Lamers milk in the glass bottle. And just, the bread is going to absorb that milk, and it's going to hold the meatballs together, but they're going to be really nice and tender meatballs. And that's because I'm using the white bread and the milk instead of dried breadcrumbs. Okay, so those are doing their thing. I've got a nice big pan that I'm going to spray with cooking spray, and I've lined it with foil. And this is going to make sure that there's no mess when we've got the cleanup. Also, I want to not overcrowd the pan. So you actually are going to be using a couple of different cookie sheets or jelly roll pans for this recipe, because we're not going to fry these meatballs. We're going to bake them in the oven, and they're going to need some space to brown up. So nice big couple of cookie sheets really does the trick. All right, I've got some fresh garlic that I'm just going to chop up. Get that in there. Two eggs. Some grated onion. I do this because my kids aren't a big fan of chunks of onion, and this is a great trick, is to get some grated onion flavor without the chunks. So basically you can use a box like cheese shredder, or we love our microplane here, and this is going to give some nice onion flavor into the meatballs without having big chunks of onion. So it's just a great idea, and it gets a little of the juice in there and really gives these meatballs some nice flavor. Ann loves these too because there's no big chunks of onion. So there's a lot of people who don't, they like the flavor of onions, but they just don't want to be, I guess, eating the onions. So this is kind of a great tip to sneak that in there. Okay. So there we go, some grated onion. Now we've got a nice big package. We've got some wonderful ground beef that we picked up at Festival Foods. 3 pounds. We're going to make lots of meatballs with this. Again, the idea is it's a good thing to have lots of this around, because we're going to be able to freeze these meatballs and pull them out on those crazy busy holiday or any time during the year. They're going to stay a good 3 months in your freezer, but you'll be going through them way quicker than that. But it's just a great thing to have on hand in your freezer. You can pull them out, thaw them in the microwave quick, and then you're in business when it comes to pulling together a quick dinner. Parmesan cheese, fresh, a little bit of fresh chopped parsley, or you could just use dry parsley. I'm going to finely chop that up. And then we're going to season these. Got a lot of meat here, so I'm using some garlic salt. You could just use regular salt if you don't like or don't have garlic salt. This is something that I grew up with, back in the day. We didn't, when I was a kid and my mom and my grandmother was cooking, you didn't use a lot of fresh garlic, so we didn't have all, the herbs and things like that, or if we had them, we didn't use them as much. We just kept it simple with garlic salt, and I still use it today. and some pepper. Now, nice clean hands, and really the only way to do meatballs is to get in there and get busy with your hands. This is a fun one to make with the kiddos. Ireland always likes to help me in the kitchen. So you just get in here, get it all combined, and mix it together. And you don't want to over mix it. That's really the key when it comes to meatballs and meatloaf. My producer Abby and her family took a break from the hecticness, and she's been talking about it all week, and I've heard wonderful things about it. And one of these days, maybe this season, if not this season, next season, I really want to go. There is a European Christmas market village that they actually set up in Elkhart Lake in a big tent, and she brought back video. She's been raving about it all week long, and it is just supposed to be amazing. There's music and caroling and all sorts of different activities, really unique gifts and crafts. They're grilling old world sausages and wines and cheeses. So, you know, sometimes I get it. I totally get it, that the holiday season, you know, is gone, here and gone before you know it. It can be filled with lots of stuff that can be kind of a hassle. So you really have to carve out time and, you know, do something special, like, you know, taking a few hours and checking out some of these neat things. So it's the Old World Christmas Market, again, right near the Osthoff Resort in Elkhart Lake, and everybody raves about it. And it only goes through the 9th, so time's running out. So anyway, you can call for more information. What were you telling me, Abby, that it's goes through the 9th, but the times you were saying, what was it? Oh, 10 in the morning till 5, so it's more of a daytime thing. Elkhart Lake is such a cute little town. All right, so I'm rolling my meatballs here, and you can make them any size you want. If you want to do more of a cocktail meatball, if you want to do, I make them kind of medium size so that I can really use them in, you know, make them a little more versatile. I can use them in spaghetti and meatballs, meatball subs, but they can also be an appetizer. And then you just bake them in the oven, depending on the size of your meatballs. I bake them at a little bit higher heat, 375, 400, and they take you know, you want to make sure that they're cooked through, but anywhere from, you know, 25 to 40 minutes. They get nice and brown. And I said, this makes a really big batch. I know, Anne's been excited about these all morning because they smell amazing. So we're going to let them cool, and later in the show I'll turn them into a couple different recipes and show you some of my favorite things to do with the meatballs. But once they're cooled, you're going to have, you know, several dozen of these. Get them into a Ziploc freezer bag and get them in your freezer. And I put them in a couple different bags so that I can just pull out the amount I need when I need it. But really a great thing to have on hand during this busy time of the year. And it's just a really yummy basic recipe.